with losing essentially the way you looked like before, what was that like? Because did you go through an identity crisis yourself? What lessons did you learn through going through that process?
I didn't go through an identity crisis as far as my appearance. I felt very blessed and very lucky to be 28 years old, to be a husband, a father. I already had a lot of things in place that, when an injury like this happens to you at a younger age, you have a lot of fears that you won't be able to achieve those.
Right.
I already had those in place. My identity crisis, I would say a little bit, was being a police officer for me was not a 40-hour-a-week job. It wasn't just something to get a paycheck and some benefits. I mean, it was who I was 24 hours a day. And the fear and anxiety that I could not go back to work, that I could not be being a police officer anymore, that was a big struggle. But I also had that fear eased pretty early on because the department was just so incredible with their support. And they let me know, if you're able to, we will welcome you back to work. And so that helped a lot. And then I started to, thankfully, I had a lot of things enter my heart and mind, understanding that the person who hit me was not targeting me or a police officer. He had made a lot of very bad choices over a very long period of time. And, I thought that I had made a lot of very good choices. One of the most beautiful things about living this life is we are free to live every day making any choice we want. We're not free from the consequences of those choices. And I recognize that. And I wouldn't take myself out of the situation and allow him to go on to the next traffic light and hit somebody else and maybe kill them or alter their lives. And to have that accountability of saying, you know what, I chose this job. I chose to answer up for this call. I chose to drive in this direction. Nothing is just instantaneous. There's no just sudden, tragic, magical instant. There's always a very long series of events that lead up to something like this. And then I got one of my favorite memories, and was my first time feeling a sense of peace, was listening. I was blind for a very long time, completely blind. And I was listening to a TV show one night, just sitting in my chair. I couldn't really move. I was so sick, so frail, lost so much weight. And I spent 5 months in the hospital. I've been home for a few months and just sitting there listening and to a TV show, and they told the story of the drowning man. And I had never heard that before.
What is the drowning man?
So the drowning man is, it's about a guy who's sitting on top of his roof, and the town is flooding. And a rowboat comes by and throws him a rope, says, "Hey man, swim over here and take you to safety." The guy says, "No, I'm praying to God. I believe in God. He's going to save you." And so the rowboat leaves and a speedboat comes by, throws him a rope, says, "Hey man, let's go." The guy says, "No, I'm good. I have faith in God. I'm praying to God. I'll be okay." So the speedboat leaves. Well, a helicopter flies up, drops a ladder down. "Climb up here and fly you to safety." Guy says, "No, praying to God. I believe in God. I'll be all right." Helicopter leaves. Well, the waters rise up. Guy drowns. Gets into heaven. He's pretty upset. He grants an audience with God and asks God, "How could you let this happen to me? I believed in you. I was praying to you. You let me drown." And God said, "I gave you a rowboat, a speedboat, and a helicopter. What are you doing here?" And when I heard that, I'm like, "Jason, you had a fire truck in your intersection. You had the wife and family and kids. We ended up having a baby 18 months after the accident. I had everything that I needed to overcome what I was going through. It was my choice to see it and to look at it." And I believe that goes for all of us. We all have what we need right here in front of us. you got to see it and you got to use it, as opposed to, it's not going to do me any good to get angry at God. It's not going to do me any good to get angry at the guy who hit me. Not going to do any good for me to say, why me? Why not me? And as far as like my appearance, and this took a couple of years, but as far as my appearance, it was, yeah, you know what? This is terrible. So disfiguring, so unattractive, so many adjectives I could put on it. And I went through numerous surgeries trying to make things better, but I always understood, you know what? I am still Jason. I am still the person inside. My heart was not burned. My soul and my character were not disfigured. That's my face, that's my hands, and that's fine. But I'm not going to allow that to change who I am at my core and what the rest of my life is going to look like. And so I had to use those things, remind myself every day, fight like crazy through, therapy, pain, surgeries. It was just, it would take me hours to cover everything. But those are the things that propelled me forward. And then every small victory, every small achievement was like, wow, all right, you know what? I got this. And I talked about when I was blind, and I was 100% blind for 9 months. And then my eyesight, it wasn't great. It's still not great because of the severe damage to my corneas and the heat and fire. But I always kind of, wherever you're at right now, if it's dark, if it's hard, if it's, you just feel like you can't see the positive outcome, the light, just at least take a couple steps forward and then see what you see from there. Because you're going to see a little more than you saw 2 steps back. Just keep going forward. And I've had to continue to do that. And I still do that. That's 19 years later, I still have to have that mindset and understanding what it takes to get through the good and the bad days.